Have you ever tried to be present and immediately start thinking about what you're having for dinner in 3 days? Well, me too. Mindfulness sounds great until your thoughts start acting like toddlers with glitter. Welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness, where self-care is on clearance and inner peace is probably hiding under that pile of laundry. Tonight we're talking about mindfulness, what it actually is, what it's not, and how to practice it without selling your belongings and moving to another country. Spoiler, if you've ever stopped mid-spiral and gone, I'm actually spiraling right now, you're already halfway to enlightenment, Wi-Fi included. Welcome, my wellness warriors and my self-care connoisseurs, to Bargain Brand Wellness. Glad to have you all here. We are live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and I changed my mind. We are live on Twitch as well. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the show. I think we got a great Friday show for you. Friday lineup. We're gonna have a good time. We got three great segments. We have some mindfulness exercises we are going to do together. I hope you guys enjoy. And we'll get started here kind of in that shortly. But while we're in here, right, we're just kind of waiting on people to pop in. As you're popping in, give us a shout out, give us a hi, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe on whatever platform you decide to join us from. We love you. We're glad you're here. We appreciate the support. And yeah. Get our chat locked in place over here on TikTok. We're gonna get some background vibes going on from our copyright-free music coming to you from Relaxed Movement, or the Relaxed Movement channel on YouTube.com. Right, they have this channel has several long, like 12-hour long videos that. I mean, I've really only been playing the one because it's like 12 hours long. I'm up to like 6 hours. I just kind of keep it playing based off of where I left off. And it's just kind of here in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud for you. But seen a couple people pop in over on TikTok. Nice to see you. Stick around if you don't mind. If you don't mind learning some wellness, we're going to talk about mindfulness today. We kind of get into this. We're excited to have you guys. Hope you enjoy the show. All right, it's another fantastic Friday. Nice day out. A little too warm for my liking this earlier in the year. I tell people all the time, I like the nice gradual lead into summer, right? I don't mind the occasional 70 or 80 degree day in April, but I like the 50s and the 60s, maybe the low 70s. Right? I don't want that 80 degree or 90 degree weather until late May when we're ready to jump in the pool and get swimming. My goal is always to have the pool up and running by Memorial Day. Right? Probably gotta start working on it here soon. But see a lot of people jumping in on TikTok. Thank you all for stopping by. Give us a like while you're on here. All right. Yeah. Even if it's just one. Right. Don't feel like you have to spam it. But we're having this is our Friday show. We stream live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right, for about an hour, maybe a little bit over that. But while we're here, we talk about everything and anything wellness. Right? We have a good time. You know, I mean, anything and everything can be wellness. This tonight's episode is all about mindfulness, and not sure exactly what you've heard about mindfulness. A lot of people think mindfulness is meditation, and I won't lie, there's aspects of mindfulness that is meditation. If you were to Google mindfulness right now, majority of the pictures that are going to pull up is going to be someone meditating. That is an aspect of it, but that's not the only part of mindfulness, and we're gonna dive into that. In fact, some of the exercises I have are more of those more interactive type things. It's not just meditation. So we're going to dive into that. But like I said, we're just kind of waiting for our viewers to jump on. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people kind of stopping by, popping in real quick on TikTok. Thank you guys for being here, stopping by. Stick around, hang out for a little bit. We're going to get into this thing here soon. Feel free to click that like button. As I mentioned before, we are also live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch under the Bargain Brand Wellness name. You search that up. Primarily YouTube is what we're starting to kind of push everyone towards. Eventually, in the long run, as we grow, right? We're a new channel. This is our third week. I think it's our third week, and so we're a new channel, newer channel. I'll say we'll say newer channel. Anyone who never heard, we had a previous show called the Brothers Chatter podcast, which has unfortunately kind of disbanded. It was a combination of my brother, my mother, my brother by the same mother, and then my brother by a different mother. We were having fun, but we weren't really getting any growth, so we decided to kind of disband. But you know what? I felt like I still had more to give, so here I am kind of doing my thing over here, having fun. We've had a lot of great interaction on all the different platforms. I hope to have the same today as we start to get into this. So feel free, if you like watching this on TikTok, that's great. Stick around, hang out. We're going to get into our first segment here shortly. Pop over to YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Check us out over there. We have a Facebook group that we started. It's linked to my personal Facebook. Kind of just really more of a group over there. We're currently going live over there just because people who I know in my personal life tend to join over there, which is fine. That's great. Long term, I don't know how long we'll stay on Facebook. And then we are on Twitch. We've done Twitch a couple times. We weren't sure if that was going to be too much, but I won't lie. I'll be honest. I was checking the other day and I saw, on a random like Wednesday or Thursday evening, there was like 440,000 people who were in the just chatting portion of Twitch. So I felt, I was like, you know what? The more I think about it, I think we can give Twitch a try. So here we are. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and dive into our first kind of segment. If you're new to this show, this is your first time watching, whether it's live or watching this later. This is a live episode, like I said, about a little over an hour typically. Within this, we record kind of 3 separate segments that kind of clipping into like one video. That kind of just falls in line with the topic of the day. Today's topic is mindfulness. It may not always necessarily be the same topic. It could be 3 totally separate topics within one show, but it'll kind of vary based off of the show. But yeah, so we clip those kind of in one, and then at the very end of the show, we'll have what's called our off-brand thoughts, which is kind of like our hot take based off of the kind of trending topic for that day. Might be a little controversial at times, but not meant to really kind of deter anybody, but more of a way just to get conversation going. With that being said, I think we're gonna go ahead and click into our first recording. I won't really be able to I won't be interacting with chat while we're going through that. So anybody who's joining on here with us, feel free to throw something in the chat while we're kind of recording this short. They're roughly 2, 3, 4 minute segments, sometimes 5. I won't really be able to kind of interact with you during that, but I'll be sure to interact with any chats that come through, at least while our numbers are low. In the future, if our numbers get a little bigger, I may not necessarily be able to read every chat, but hey, that's first world problems. Let's get in this. All right, let's start with the lies. The hot, calming lies of wellness culture. Because somewhere along the way, we were told that to be mindful, you need to sit in silence for 90 minutes a day, clear your mind completely, and preferably own a ceramic bowl that sings at you. First of all, you do not need to clear your mind completely. That's not mindfulness. That's a coma. The goal isn't to shut your brain down like a bad app. It's to notice what your brain is doing without you judging it. If your thoughts are spiraling like a toddler in a candy aisle, great, you noticed. That's mindfulness. Second, mindfulness isn't limited to sitting cross-legged on a bamboo mat in total silence. It can happen while you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or angrily waiting in traffic while imagining scenarios that will never happen. The key isn't the environment, it's the attention. Third, people avoid mindfulness because it's uncomfortable. We're used to distracting ourselves that the idea of just sitting with our thoughts is horrifying. That's why people reach for their phone before they even get out of bed. Silence reveals all the noise inside, and that's a vibe we're not always ready for. Fourth, let's be real. Some folks think mindfulness is not for them because the branding makes it feel exclusive. Like you have to be a vegan, minimalist, kombucha brewing monk to qualify. No, if you've ever paused mid-spiral and gone, I'm spiraling right now, then guess what? You're already doing that thing. And finally, you don't have to love to do it. Mindfulness can feel awkward. Even annoying at first, maybe kind of boring. That's fine. It's like stretching a muscle you haven't used since gym class. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to show up for it. All right, that's kind of our first segment right there, which we're just kind of, getting rid of some of the myth of mindfulness that people kind of get caught up in. Mindfulness is really just kind of being aware with whatever is going on with you. That's mindfulness. Sure, meditating, deep breathing, those are all things that can kind of bring awareness to you, but doesn't necessarily have to involve that. It can just be sitting here thinking like, you know what? I need to really slow down right now. Right? I'm out of breath. I can't breathe. Right? I'm hungry. I need to sleep. Whatever it might be. That is, in a sense, mindfulness. Right? Mindfulness is something that takes a lot of practice to do, but it's very easy to do. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it kind of helps you kind of regulate your emotions a little bit. One thing to kind of keep in mind, mindfulness is not necessarily a distress tolerance strategy in itself, or even a de-escalation method. If those terms are, like kind of confusing, like basically mindfulness is not necessarily a way to calm yourself down. It can be, but only if you're kind of in the mood or in the moment to be calmed down. If you're not kind of in that headspace and you're using it for that reason, it's probably not going to do exactly what you intended for it to do. Right? And your mind will continue to wander. Because basically we are all expert ruminators. Right? Most of us, probably 80, 90% of the time, are not present. We're either kind of focused on the past, something that has already happened, something we can't change, or something that's to come, something in the future. Right? Here's a great example. We've all done something really embarrassing in our life, and I mean really embarrassing. Right? Something that probably happened 15, 20, 25 years ago or more. Or maybe it was something that just happened a couple years ago, but it feels like everybody kind of forgot about it. You ever just been kind of sitting there alone with your thoughts, and all of a sudden you kind of remember that thing, and your brain kind of goes, oh yeah, I do remember that. I remember that thing I did. And you start to feel that shame, that guilt. Your heart starts beating real fast. You start sweating a little bit. Your armpits start perspirating. You're like, wait a minute. Why am I in this headspace right now? Right? This is a feeling I felt 15, 20, 25 years ago. Why am I feeling this right now? Because we are expert ruminators. We are great at throwing ourselves back into those really possibly traumatizing moments. Right? And that's living in the past. Living in the future, right? I can tell you as an avid overthinker, right? We spend so much time worried about what will be, right? What will be? How can I prepare for this event? How can I prevent this event from occurring? Whatever it might be. Some things you have zero control over, right? And the quicker you're able to realize that, probably better off you're going to be. And there's a good chance that thing you thought about, or you were putting a lot more time than it deserved, probably isn't going to end up being that bad anyway. A lot of the times, quite in fact. So we are definitely expert ruminators, right? We love to live in the past. We're having a good time over here. Well, like I said, we're just kind of getting started. We have not really had any comments yet. I've seen a lot of people popping through on TikTok. And TikTok, just because I'm relatively new, TikTok could be people just kind of popping on just for a moment. Maybe not even necessarily clicking on the live. But when I see it says someone joined, to me that makes me think that someone's actually literally joining, even if it's just for a moment. So, yeah, I don't know. I see we have one viewer on Facebook. I don't know. Supposedly there's a way to tell who your viewers are, but I can't see it. Looks like Twitch says we have a viewer, and let's see, let me put participants list. Nothing on Bargain Brand Wellness, nothing on our YouTube, so that's all right. We're over here. We hopefully people will be joining us here shortly. Hopefully. If not, hey, people got stuff to do. We're like I said, we're a kind of newer channel. We're trying to get the word out, right? We if you are new here, right, as I mentioned before, we're live on not just TikTok, we're live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and we're also live on Twitch. So yeah, we're happy to have you here. We're slowly growing. We're, as we get going, after we've been doing this for probably about a month or two, we're going to start looking to promote a little bit heavier, see if we can start getting some people in here. We're a channel, like I said, the name kind of implies what we're looking at. We're a wellness channel, anything and everything wellness, anything from, eating habits, fitness, supplements and vitamins, mental health, which is kind of, a preference of mine, but even anything just, relationships, and when I say relationships, I mean intimate or family and friends. I mean, honestly, you can really kind of make anything about wellness. So we kind of talk about anything and everything. We're not a very political channel. No, actually, I did not see any comments coming through. Let me update on my side. No, nothing coming through. That's weird. But hey, I see it on YouTube. That's weird though, because it looks like the Facebook is working just fine. Oh, there it is. I just expanded the comments, and now we've got people in here. Yeah. No, I really did not see anything. That's weird. It's never done that before. Yeah, I see it now. But hey, thanks for being here. I really thought we were alone for a moment. That's all right. I see Debbie, I see you on there. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, this is my new haircut. You guys like it? My new look. My fool. I know, right? Yeah, we're hey, that's cool. Wherever you want to join, I appreciate it. No, this is a wig I bought. I actually like it. Actually, I mean, you can tell it's not real, but it's actually not too bad. It's pretty comfy. It's kind of stylish. Right, I wore this for one of my TikTok videos. I think I did last year. I think character I was working on called Chaz. Right. Do a little dude voice. I don't know if I can do the dude voice right now. Yeah, I can't do it. My mouth's a little dry. But yeah, figured kind of go with the whole mindfulness hippie vibe, because that's a lot. I mean, honestly, we're kind of addressing stereotypes. That's what a lot of people think of when they think mindfulness. They think hippie. They think rainbows and prisms and kaleidoscopes and things like that. So here's what we should just start wearing that to work and be serious. See, people say that would be funny, like to show up like, hey, what's everybody looking at? That would be funny. All right, so yeah, we have a couple people over on YouTube. We have a couple on Facebook. So we got one viewer over here on Twitch. So here's what we're going to do. I don't know how kind of interactive this is going to be, but we're going to do our first little kind of mindfulness exercise. I thought this would be a lot more fun rather than just talking about it. Let's demonstrate a little bit. So hopefully you guys like this one. Even if you're watching this, afterwards, you can still kind of engage in this. Right? I like your long hair. Yeah, it's actually my hair actually my real hair actually sticks out underneath this just a little bit. If you could see me from the back, you could see my real hair kind of sticking out. But yeah, Stephen Twig, what's up, my brother from another mother. I have a lot of brothers. So actually, perfect timing because we're getting ready to get into our first little kind of mindfulness. So I hope you guys feel. This isn't going to be anything too drastic, I promise, right? I want to keep it simple for y'all, but let's get into this. Our first little mindfulness is called mindfully noticing something. And so what I want you to do is kind of in your space that you're in, find something, right? Find an item, something you can kind of pick up, maybe even hold a little bit. And I want you to just kind of take a moment and notice the shape and the color, the texture, the size, the weight of whatever that item might be, right? And it can be anything, preferably family friendly, but hey, don't feel like you have to leave a comment on there, right? So me, I'm going to take, perfect example. I'm going to take this Coke Zero, cherry Coke Zero can, right? It's metal, right? I can kind of feel the, how the sides are kind of pliable. They kind of going in because it's only got about quarter left. The colors are bright red towards the bottom and then a darker red and almost a purple near the top, right? The bottom where the Coke Zero is, it's still slightly cool, right? Even though I didn't get this out of the fridge, I pulled it right off the shelf and my air conditioning's on, so I could kind of, I can drink it right out of the can. Weight, not very heavy, maybe half a pound, if that, right? And so that in itself, like I said, is aware. Mindfulness is kind of bringing yourself just back into the present moment. Now, I won't lie to you, it's pretty easy to kind of stay in the present, while I'm doing this because I need to be present for what we're doing. But when you're not doing things like this, you're not engaged in other things that require you to be present, it can be very, very difficult at times. So yeah, to kind of just do little things like this, just to bring you back, even if it's just for a moment, to the present, that thing that might have been bothering you, just after a couple minutes, that thing you were thinking about, there's a good chance it's not really bothering you that much anymore. At least not as much as it was. At least not as much as it was. So, for our people who are on here and wouldn't mind commenting, feel free to kind of type in the chat what was the item that you kind of chose, and give us a brief description of it. See how mindful and how aware you were of your space. how long am I going to grow my real hair? Probably not much longer. We've been talking. I do want to get a little cut. I just really don't know what I want to do to it. I don't want to go short again. I kind of liked how it was looking last spring. Kind of had just like the little length to it, and then I was starting to get those curls, which is when I first realized that I even had curly hair. Because as many of you know, I never really had curly hair, but hey. Yeah. All right, your Xbox controller. Okay. Listen, and it can be the simplest thing. It don't feel like it has to be something, you know, super like complex, because it makes you feel like, well, if I pick this weird thing, that makes me more into my... No, it can be the simplest thing. I could have chose my playing cards that I sit here and shuffle while I'm doing this, because that in itself kind of helps keeps me present, helps keep me grounded. It's my own little version of a fidget. As I told people before, I have a pack of these in my desk drawer at work that I just started using when I'm in a meeting at work and I'm starting to feel emotionally charged. That's the term I'm going to use, emotionally charged. I start to shuffle these cards, and if nothing else, and it doesn't always, if you ever see me shuffling cards on here, does not mean I'm emotionally charged. I'm just doing my best to kind of stay grounded and kind of stay in it, because with my ADHD, if I don't have this thing, my mind will start to wander. If I'm at work, I'll start looking at emails, I'll start working on something else. And within my work, we do a lot of virtual meetings, and I watch other people constantly over on the side doing something else. So I try not to do that. I try to show respect. Debbie says the Bible. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Ashley says a bracelet that my daughter made. It has a little turtle, whale, cat, dolphin, tiny seashells, and beads. Everything was different colors, and they all made a nice sound as they moved around the string. Ooh, I like how you threw the sound into that too. And it's one of those things, like, you probably see it every day. Some of those things we don't even really notice. I don't want to say we kind of take them for granted, but we just kind of forget that they even exist. Anybody got any good plans for the weekend? I know me, I took next week off. I like to take a week off, like mid-spring, right, to kind of just get my stuff done outside. So I'll be off all next week, just kind of get my pool up and ready, doing stuff around the garden, getting our outdoor furniture up and cleaned off, and all that good stuff. Put myself to work a little bit, spend all those hard-earned tax dollars that we get refund. That's pretty much what we usually do with our tax refund. Usually goes back into whatever we got going on, and then the rest usually goes towards vacations and whatnot. But if you're all on here, like I said, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. We're as I mentioned before, we're a relatively new channel. Right, streaming 3 days a week, right? Typically about the same time, 8:30. Like to do our best to try to keep it consistent if possible, right, as we go through. All things wellness and anything wellness, right? Where we've got self-care on clearance, and we're probably not FDA approved, at least not yet. No. And if I hadn't really shared this with some of you before, that was kind of the whole idea behind the name Bargain Brand Wellness. Is I've been for 2 years now, I've been kind of on a path to making this channel. I just really didn't know what I wanted to do, and then it kind of started hitting me the other day. Any of you who know me, I'm not an expert in any of this. I'm well informed. I like to learn about this kind of stuff. Makes me feel better, just makes me feel better in general. So I started thinking, what would be, because I still want to bring some humor into here, which is why you'll kind of usually see me in some sort of outfit. Occasionally you might just see me in regular clothes. Sorry to disappoint for anybody who likes my little outfit. But we like to bring the humor in with this, as well as the wellness. And maybe even some like conspiracy theories, some weird facts in there, and so we're not like an official like therapeutic, like, licensed therapist type channel. So that's where it kind of got me thinking about, I was thinking like, okay, that's what I want, like a discount brand, like dollar store brand of wellness. It's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not exactly what what you would normally pay for. And that's where I came up with the name Bargain Brand Wellness. Short, the short version is BBW. BBW. If you know, you know. It's meant to be a joke. Ashley says, I was off today and it was beautiful. I'm planning on taking my girls to Easter egg hunts tomorrow. Sunday will be Easter, church service, and then a family meal with my grandparents. Love the holidays. Glad to hear it. Going to try the Easter egg hunt hike at New Germany State Park tomorrow. Exactly. I have not heard of that one. Going back to your mindfulness activity, focusing on something like that can be a great grounding technique. Agreed. And as much as I love mindfulness and I talk about it all the time, I still don't do it enough. Just like everyone else, we kind of get stuck in the daily grind. And if nothing, listen, I look at it this way. If I get nothing else from this channel, I'll at least improve my own wellness, because ever since I've been doing this, my mental health has really been really great. I've been having a lot of fun. I think, it's not just doing this, it's also all the support that I've been getting from colleagues and from friends and family. And we're really enjoying this. We're really having a good time. What's up, pretty girl? Can you say hi? You can say hi real quick. I have a guest here that wants to say hi real quick. She's been on the previous show. Right here. Say hi to everybody real quick. Hi, this is my little Princess Regan. Love you, sweetie. I figured if you've seen any of my videos, she's been in the background doing some dances, doing some cartwheels. She was a guest on one of our later episodes of the Brothers Chatter, where her and Ethan had a Who's Smarter contest, and it was hilarious. Those two did not disappoint. They were going hard at each other with the Yo Mama jokes. It was pretty bad. We had to edit some of it out. But yeah. Go ahead and close that door for me, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Well, it's roughly about 9 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get into our next recorded segment. Who is smarter? I think she's smarter. I agree, Ashley, but unfortunately, Ethan did beat her. Not by that much. It was pretty close. I think she was a little nervous because there was a math question in there that she normally would have got, but I think she just didn't have the time to really do it in her head. Yeah, it was a lot closer than it should have been. He probably cheated. He probably did. I think I saw his phone down there. All right, so we're going to get into recording our next part of the segment where we talk a little bit more about mindfulness. As I mentioned before, as we're kind of going through this part, I'm not necessarily interacting with the chat as we're doing so, but these are just short segments. I didn't really mention this before, but for our viewers on TikTok, you're not necessarily seeing, you're kind of hearing me record, but our viewers on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, they kind of get an extended version of this because they kind of get video or pictures that I kind of throw up in place of me at times. So just kind of the one disadvantage for TikTok right now, but I mean you're not missing a whole lot. It's just something that I kind of throw in there to kind of bring home the point. Plus, because I clip these into actual videos for YouTube, that's kind of the purpose behind it. So yeah. Let's talk about the rest of us. The ones whose brains are basically browsers with 47 tabs open, including one that's playing music and no one knows where it's coming from. Mindfulness doesn't have to be complicated. Try the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. It's grounding, simple, and perfect when your thoughts are doing laps in your head like it's the Indy 500. Then there's box breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Out for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. That's it. It's not deep or mystical, but it tricks your nervous system into chilling out like a stress reset button. Navy SEALs even use it. You can too. Here's a weird one. Mindful hand washing. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the next time you're washing your hands, actually feel the water. Notice the temperature, smell the soap. It turns a 30-second habit into a full-blown moment of presence. Same goes for chewing gum with intention. I'm not joking. Notice the texture, the flavor, the motion. Boom. You're a monk now. And let's be clear. You're going to get distracted. A lot. That's not failure. That's literally the point. The whole exercise is about noticing when you've wandered off and gently, without judgment, bringing yourself back. That's the rep. You didn't miss up. You just did a rep. Try again. Bam. We did that thing. And honestly, I mean, that really is mindfulness, right? At its core, right? It's just trying different things. I know my first time going through some of it, I would kind of cast judgment on myself if I wasn't able to do it. Like, I should be able to do this. When I was first learning DBT, which is primarily where a lot of mindfulness resonates from for me, we were doing one called urge surfing, where you kind of felt like you were like that urge to like, if I was sitting there, that urge to like scratch my nose, like to resist that urge, right? Let it ride it like a wave and just let it kind of sail over. I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't feel myself surfing on that urge to move. That one was a hard one for me. And I would kind of judge myself a little bit. I've dabbled in doing a little bit of Tai Chi, particularly Qigong, which is a lot of mindfulness meditation, but with some movement as well. And I really enjoy it. I don't do it consistently enough, to be honest. But when I do, I really enjoy it. But when I first started doing it, I felt, I would kind of judge myself if I just wasn't really in the right headspace at that time. I'd be like, man, I'm just not feeling it today. And that's okay. And that's where it comes back to this. That's just a rep. Bring yourself back. Hey, that's a rep. It's just like going to the gym and hitting those curls. That first set, you're not really necessarily feeling a whole lot. Your second set starts to get a little bit more strenuous. That third set, you're really stretching that muscle and you're barely finishing if it's heavy enough weight. But then you finish it and you're like, whew, I got through it, right? But then after like a couple minutes, you almost, your muscles feel tighter. You feel a little bit better. That's mindfulness. It's kind of working in the same way. So, hand washing, chewing gum, brushing your teeth, washing your hair, mindful eating. These are lots of daily activities. Yeah, especially I had seen about using, take something like brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth with your other hand. If you're right-handed and you usually brush with your left or your right, switch over to your left hand and brush that way. They said that's little things like that will kind of throw you out because it feels weird. It feels different. When you get in a shower, if you have a routine, like they always say you should wash your hair first because it'll like run down off of you, but maybe wash your hair last. I don't know. Maybe do something else a little bit different. Anything where you can kind of change up the order in how you do things, except for socks and shoes. Anybody who puts a sock and shoe on before they put the other sock and shoe on is just a crazy person. Just crazy. Like, who does that? I'm joking, people. Some people do, believe it or not. Mindfulness skills include being non-judgmental. When you notice yourself being judgmental, acknowledge the judgment and move on. Let it pass by like a cloud in the sky. And that's the part of it that I said really kind of takes practice, in my opinion. Yeah, it really does, because it's not an easy thing to do, right? Not in the beginning. Once you've been doing it for a while, you're like, yeah, I can't even remember a time when I wasn't able to do these and to practice these skills. But a lot of times it's really just getting started. Mindfulness is a great way. Something you should just sit down and do a couple times a day. Just to keep yourself present. You'll notice a difference in your mental health right away. We've seen people kind of joining in and out on the TikTok. No likes, unfortunately, today, which is unfortunate because on Wednesday we reached a pretty high number of 17,000 likes. Now, granted, that's a little bit, of a misleading figure because I did have some of my followers on here, mashing the like button, which I appreciate the love, but wouldn't mind getting a couple likes on the video today. Right? Maybe it's the hair. Maybe they don't like the wig. Maybe it's throwing people off. Maybe it's the glasses. They are tiny. The best part is awareness, even if it's awareness of the judgments. Yeah, I think that's a good way to say that. Yeah, we're very judgmental towards a lot of other people, but especially towards ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We tend to not give ourselves a break that we heavily deserve. All right. I think with that being said, let's get into our next little mindfulness exercise. Did we get a message? No, we didn't get a message on TikTok. Just more people joining, which I'm glad to have the viewers over there. Just wouldn't mind some interaction with y'all. Tell us how your days are. Tell us what you do for your mindfulness techniques. But anyway, yeah, let's get into our next mindfulness. We're going to do what's called a mindfulness sound check. Basically, feel free to mute me for 5-10 seconds. Not yet. Let me give the rest of the instructions. And I want you to notice what you hear. Anything. All right. I'm not going to pause my music, but I will stop talking for about 10 seconds and just notice what you hear. All right. Pause or mute me now. Welcome back. That was about 12 seconds. Other than my music, which I was trying to not pay attention to, it's pretty quiet in here right now. Really, the only thing I could hear is the humming from our laptop that we have over here that's running TikTok Studio. We have to run TikTok Studio off of a separate PC. It was putting way too much of a load to run OBS into YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch along with TikTok. It was just a little too much. But yeah, so that's really all I could hear was just that in the background, and then someone telling them how much they love their pappy. He is a pretty cool guy. My dog's snoring. My kids running around upstairs when they should be in bed. The wind against the windows. Oh no, someone's in trouble. It's Friday. Let them stay up. Well, you did say you had plans tomorrow, so you got a long day tomorrow. You know what? You're right. Get to bed. Darn kids. Don't listen. Kids these days. Back in my day, would have gotten a wooden spoon. Right? We had to walk uphill both ways. 4 foot of snow, even in the middle of summer. We're hiking in the morning. They're getting their energy out now, but tomorrow they'll be tired. That's the worst part. I'm tired. Do we have to go? Is it done yet? Are we there yet? Gotta love the kiddos. They're wonderful. They're worth every moment. We wouldn't give them up, even if they make us want to pull our hair out at times. We still love them. Trying to pop the chat out on TikTok, see if maybe I missed something, but unfortunately not. But it's okay. We're over here having a good time. If you're joining us for your, yes, are we there yet? Is Easter Bunny going to stop at your house? Maybe. We don't have any little ones that live here, but they always come over on Easter afternoon, pre-evening, right, to have some dinner. And there's Easter Bunny tends to leave some eggs out there, but then of course I got to go back through to catch the ones that these kids miss, so I don't run over them and have chocolate thrown all over me or whatever candy might be inside of there. Sometimes the Easter Bunny even puts money in there. I don't ever remember the Easter Bunny giving me money when I was a kid. It was always candy. Might be changing up. She might want a basket. She might. Not you. My wonderful wife. So yeah. Once again, if you're just joining us, right, or if you're just kind of strolling by, right, in this wonderful Friday afternoon, I'll tell you what, it's nice out. We were sitting outside. We finished cutting the grass, and we were just sitting outside, just kind of in the shade, and just slight little breeze. It was warm, but I wasn't, dripping with sweat. It's a nice night out. But, if you're popping by just for a moment here on this wonderful Friday evening, thank you for being here. All right, check us out on wherever you're checking us out from. TikTok, under well, we have a Bargain Brand Wellness page. I'm live on TikTok under my personal name. Did I mindfully cut the grass? No, not usually. I won't lie to you. I don't usually mindfully cut the grass. That's a good time, just like driving, for me to kind of just figure out what I'm doing, mentally kind of prep for the stream, think about my weekend, right? It's good planning time. And sometimes that's okay. I think we tend to forget about that. So, no, I will say I don't usually mindfully cut the grass. YouTube, we are on the Bargain Brand Wellness page, right? Feel free to jump over there, give us a like, subscribe, check out some of our previous live streams. They all should be over there, right? As well as some of our clips, the recorded segments that we post from here are on there if you want maybe a shortened version of what we're talking about, not necessarily the live. We have a Facebook group that is also attached to my personal profile. Feel free to hop on over there. I try to keep updates in there. And then we're kind of new to Twitch. I think this might be the first full one we've done on Twitch. Maybe the second. I can't remember now. It's crazy. We've only been doing this for 3 weeks, but doing an episode 3 times a week, I'm kind of forgetting. I'm kind of forgetting if we've done a full one on Twitch yet. It says we have 1 viewer over there, but I'll be honest, that 1 viewer could be me. I don't know why you count yourself as a viewer, but we've got Twitch. Twitch is mostly for gaming, but there is a just chatting section. And the other day I saw like 440,000 people on there just watching Twitch. I'm thinking, well, shoot, there's an audience for us. Let's shoot over there, see if we can get anything. Did you find out what the roses do? Yes, I did find out what the roses do. It's one of the gifts. Shoot, what was it? I think a rose is equal to like a few cents. I think on the TikTok live, because we had somewhat of a gifting war going on. I made like $4 over there between my nephew and my brother. Yeah, Reagan's brother. Would you back up? Yeah, Reagan's brother. So we made about $4 with that. I think a rose is worth like 4 cents or something like that, maybe a cent. Or lightning bolts are worth a little bit more. And I know I've seen other things like diamonds and coins and Do they pay? Yeah, they have to pay for them when they send them. I don't know how they get them. I don't know if it's stuff that they have left over from their lives, or do they upload money to an account? I don't know exactly how that works, but yeah, it's real money. I think someone was explaining to me that if you go to cash it out, then like TikTok takes like a certain percentage of the money. So even though I made $4, it wouldn't cash out at $4. It would cash out like $2 and some change maybe. So kind of a way to monetize a little bit. I don't think there's a lot of monetization. I mean, there is in TikTok, but not as much. Ideally, you know, we would like to kind of have some monetization, but that'll primarily be done through YouTube, hopefully, and maybe Twitch. I don't think Facebook really has any type of monetization for their lives. At least not that I'm aware of. Maybe it requires more followers, but that's kind of where we're eventually looking to get, is to kind of turn this into not necessarily a paid, like you have to pay to watch, but maybe there's additional perks that comes with like paid memberships. I know a lot of video game streamers do something like that, and that's something that we can do as well. But that's a ways down the road. We got to build our population, our clientele, our audience first. We need to develop our wellness warrior band, right? Get more of our self-care connoisseurs in here, bringing their wealth of knowledge to us. Because as I mentioned before, I'm not an expert in any of this. I'm a student of wellness, just like all of you. But I'm happy that you guys are here. We're having a good time. We got some smaller numbers today than what I'd hoped, but you know, we still have some people here, so I'm appreciating the viewership. I'm appreciating the love, the engagement, and we're having a good time. Here in just another second, we're gonna record our third and kind of final segment, and then we'll finish up with one last mindfulness, as well as our off-brands thought of the day. Right, our off-brands thought is kind of our hot take topic, right, which might even just kind of combine all three topics or be somewhat of a controversial topic that might be somewhat related to what we're talking about. But yeah, probably because it's holiday weekend, might be. I hadn't even really thought about that, to be honest. And yeah, because I'll be honest, like this type of show, you know, Friday evenings like this, I mean, how much are people who are into this type of content, how much are they watching? You know, maybe even our time might even be a little off. I don't want to really read too much into it yet, just because we're still so new, but it could be. Yeah, and it's spring break for a lot of people, so yeah. All right, let's record our last segment. As I mentioned before, I won't necessarily be kind of interacting with chat as we do this kind of final portion, but it's only about 2-3 minutes maybe, and then we'll I'll kind of interact with whatever y'all put in chat, and we'll keep it moving. This one's for the folks who've downloaded 17 meditation apps and ghosted every single one by day 2. You are seen, you are loved, you are definitely not alone. Mindfulness doesn't have to be a 30-minute morning ritual that you do on a mountain at sunrise. It can be micro-mindfulness, tiny, consistent moments scattered throughout your day, like taking one deep breath before you open your inbox, or actually tasting your coffee instead of inhaling it through sheer desperation. Try anchoring to mindfulness to stuff you're already doing. For example, every time you hit a red light, take one breath. Every time you brush your teeth, try doing it without scrolling. Don't add more tasks, just upgrade the ones that are already on your list. Also, give yourself permission to be messy with it. Some days you'll forget, some days you'll nail it. That's life. The goal isn't perfection, it's presence. Mindfulness doesn't need to be aesthetic, it just needs to be real. And finally, mindfulness works even in chaos. Yeah, even with screaming kids, loud coworkers, or while your dog is vomiting on your carpet. you can still pause, breathe, and come back to yourself. The world doesn't have to be quiet for you to find quiet inside it. And there you have it. Mindfulness, demystified and a little less annoying. Whether you're finding your breath, noticing your thoughts, or just trying to not throw your phone across the room, you're doing the work. It's not about perfection, it's about showing up. So go out there, tune into the now, and remember, peace of mind is a practice, not a purchase. Bam. I like that. The goal is perfection. Isn't perfection, it's presence. Yeah, I like some of these little kind of slogans we've been coming up with. Yeah, mic drop. If this is kind of an expensive mic, I can maybe do a mic drop with my little lavalier mic that's connected to our TikTok. We'll have to get a there we go. We'll get one of those prop mics that we can do a literal mic drop after each recording. I will say, as we're kind of going through this, we're going to do what we can to make this a little bit more interactive. I don't watch a whole lot of live on, different platforms, but what I have seen done, I see like different people trying to do things to make things more interactive, and I don't really want to steal anyone's ideas, but it kind of gives me some ideas of my own that we could work on, because we have a lot of different. We got 6 different screens kind of going on here right now, but we always have room for more. I have a decent sized office here. We got a couple cameras going on. We got a separate view that I can show you guys real quick. I promise you that is not where I make her sleep. She just likes to lay in the dog's bed over there. That's where Ellie lays when she's in here. We occasionally use this camera just as kind of a third person view, so y'all can kind of see what we've got going on, but we don't use it that often. We can use that one for making engagement. No. That's just a video. Yeah, we're going to look to make this a little bit more engaging as we go through. Right. Like I said, we appreciate the love. Right. We appreciate family, friends, coworkers. Right? Or even complete strangers, people who I've never met before. We appreciate y'all being on here. Right, stopping by, saying hi to us, showing us some love, showing us some support. Let's wrap up. Not quite wrap up, but let's do one more mindfulness right before we record our off-brand thought, our hot take. This next one, it's kind of similar to what we did the first time, but it's called a mindful snapshot of your space. And I want you to still notice something, but notice something that you typically overlook, something you don't typically notice in your space. And you're like, look at that thing. I won't lie, I spend a lot of time in this office, so I don't know how much I have in here that I don't notice. I'll tell you one. There's right here above my window. It's from my wife's family. It's not really mine, but it's been hanging here for a long time. There's a cross hanging off the window, just right dead center, right in the window that goes to the outside. It's not just a cross. It has a little model of Jesus. It's all metal, solid. Pretty cool looking. But something I always forget is there. So, yeah. Right. What about you? Right. What do you hold? What is in your space that you tend to overlook? Right. And feel free, if you're watching this afterwards, throw a comment, throw in those things that you don't necessarily think about. What is the big mic in front of you for if you're wearing a little one? So we're on 2 different computers. My main desktop computer, which is everything right here, is connected to my Audio Technica mic, my good mic. This one is on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. As I was saying before, it was putting too much of a load to then also run TikTok Live Studio in the back, because I have to run that as a separate application. I can't link it to those. It was putting way too much of a load on here. And so I used my laptop that I had from the other podcast, from the other show. That's only running TikTok live, but I didn't have a good mic other than the webcam mic. So I hooked up that's what the lavalier mic is going to. That's how people on TikTok are hearing me. And then we actually have 2 cameras right here. They're pretty close together, so when I look at it, I can look at either one, and you can't necessarily really tell all that much because they're side by side. So we have those 2 there, and then we have our third person camera up there, which is attached to YouTube, Facebook, and but, you know, it is a little complicated. I'm not a big computer guy anyway. Most of it's relatively easy once you sit down and try to work with it. I'll be honest, I got better at this as I used to kind of work on my own vehicles just because I'm cheap and don't like to pay people to do it. And I realized very quickly when it comes to working on a vehicle is you just have to mindful, right? Become aware and kind of focus on the area that you're working on for that time being. Because you can lift up the hood of a car and you just see everything. You're like, wow, I don't even know where to start. Start with the problem areas. If you know where you're looking, right? If you don't know where your radiator is, you probably shouldn't even be underneath the hood of your car. But if you kind of know where stuff is, at least you have a starting point. So it's kind of the same thing with this. If I know kind of what my starting point is and what I want to look for, I can just kind of slowly work into it. I'm sure there's probably even a better way for me to go about this whole process, but that's what I like to do. I kind of learn as I'm doing this. So I'm sure this process, what we're doing here, is going to evolve over the next couple months a lot. I know some of y'all had said like the 15-minute starting soon scene. It's a little long. It's meant to be long. It gives people a chance to pop in so that when I start, we already have people on here, ideally. But I know some of you had mentioned before about maybe trying to make it a little bit more interactive, which is fine. I just have to make the content to put in there. Eventually, I'm going to even kind of record an intro that we'll throw in here. It's kind of like your, kind of the beginning of the show that'll play. It'll be like a 30 to 60 second clip of, welcome to Bargain Brown Wellness, right? It kind of fits in with my little opening as well. But, yeah. So those are our 3 mindfulness activities we've done today. If you like them, feel free to use them. We did mindfulness noticing, where you described an item in detail in your shape, color, texture, shape, size, weight. We did mindfulness sound check, where you muted me for a few seconds and just kind of noticed the things around you. And then we did a mindful snapshot your space, where you kind of focused on something that usually you don't even give a second thought to, something you overlook in your space, and then just kind of took notice of it, right? And there's a lot of different mindfulness out there you can do. Yo, what's up, Joey Twig? You did. We're kind of wrapping up, but you know what? That's all right, buddy. People got a life outside of this. I appreciate you stopping by while you're here. Right? I'll be honest, we really haven't had a whole lot of people on here, but that's okay. It's a holiday weekend. It's a Friday. People are doing family stuff. That's all right. But thank you for stopping by, Joe. We appreciate it. We're kind of wrapping up here a little bit, just kind of interacting with people. We're getting ready to record our off-brand spot here in just a moment, and then after that, we're gonna wrap up. But yeah, I appreciate those of you who have popped on here. I appreciate those of you who haven't been able to make it on here. Hopefully, if you're watching this, maybe you're even watching it, at a later date, which is cool. I'm all for that as well. Right? As we're trying to grow over here, we're trying to have fun and just engage and maybe learn a little bit something to make this difficult thing that we call life, make it a little bit more bearable. And we can do that together, right? Which is why we're building our Wellness Warrior brand. Joey lost his top fan spot. Ooh. Words have been thrown, Joey. Words have been thrown. No, I appreciate you guys being on here pretty consistently. It's been nice. It's nice to have at least someone on here to talk to. I won't lie to you. Like I said, I'm not expecting huge numbers. I'm really not. We're just getting started. We don't even know if what we're doing is really going to appeal to people outside of my personal circle. That's why we're trying this out. We're going to see what we can do, see how we can evolve. And as long as we're having fun doing it, it's worth doing. But one thing about me, if you know anything about me, I do not like to stay stagnant. I'm always moving. right? I'm always looking to improve on stuff, right? I'm never satisfied. Never satisfied. Never satisfied, but I can still enjoy life, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying life. That being said, let's record our off-brand thought, and we're gonna wrap up. Mindfulness isn't about becoming some serene, glowing yoga influencer in Bali with a ring light and a smoothie. It's not about sitting still and pretending you're not annoyed that the neighbor's dog won't shut up. It's about catching yourself mid-spiral and saying, hey babe, maybe let's not create fake arguments in the shower today. If you're breathing, you're already halfway there. If you noticed you're spiraling, you're basically enlightened with Wi-Fi. And if you chewed your gum like it was a sacred ritual today, guess what? You just spiritually bypassed 3 self-help books. So next time your brain starts running a tab at the anxiety bar, just pause and say, not today, Cortex. We're washing our hands like it's a spa treatment. Here at Bargain Brand Wellness, we've got self-care on clearance. Probably not FDA approved, but we love you regardless. Catch us next time. Almost. We just got to do our little closing, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. But we've been doing pretty good. We've been pretty consistent for about an hour 15. But I don't really count the 15-minute starting soon screen that we've been doing. But hour and 10, as promised. Ideally, I think, we got to think long term here. I think ideally we'd like to eventually maybe either have a longer version that is paid content. You get this much for free, and then after this part, you get an extra half an hour, through paid content, whether it be through membership or whether it be through Patreon, which, and maybe I'll look a little bit more into that. Either that or, do we want to, this is something I'll have to kind of, mull around. Do we want to consider like a Saturday, what we talked about the other day, the BBW after dark, like a Saturday stream later, like 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever. I don't know, 11 o'clock's pushing for me. I go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Do we want to do a BBW after dark as kind of a paid content? What were some of the other terms y'all were helping me come up with? I thought it was off-brand and off-point. Yeah, off-brand and off-topic. Yeah. Off-brand and off-topic, which kind of fits with one of our other slogans, off-brand, but on point. So we're thinking about it. Like you said, the neighbor's dog won't shut up. Have I ever been too mindful or focused on something? Ooh. I don't know. Maybe. That's a good thought. I've never thought about it in that direction. Can you ever be too mindful? Right? Do you ever need to just kind of just let yourself just kind of wander for a minute? I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know. I'll have to kind of mull around on that one. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever been too mindful that I needed to like kind of wander away. Yeah, I don't know. The other day at work, someone was printing or copying a ton of things and they kept dropping something metal on the table nonstop each time. I was literally going bonkers and couldn't stop focusing on it. That's funny. Yeah, a lot of people use that copier quite often. I typically use that one whenever when I have to make a lot of copies. A lot of copies. But if I'm just printing out just something small, I usually we have a copier in our office. We use that's a color one too. It's not a copier, but a printer. All right, y'all. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this thing up. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you have a happy holiday, happy Easter. All right, we'll be back Monday. I'm gonna write next week's segments down over the weekend, and we'll be live Monday evening, 8:30 sharp is the plan. Like I said, we'll try to keep it as consistent as we can, unless we need to. But yeah, let's wrap this up. So whether your mindfulness practice involves deep breathing or just noticing that you're mid-meltdown and whispering, calm down, you're doing it right. You don't need a spiritual guru, a meditation app, or a Himalayan treatment to be present. Sometimes all you need is a second to stop doom scrolling and realize your coffee's still warm. Be present, not perfect. Breathe like nobody's watching. And if the brain gets chaotic, just remember, you're not broken, you're buffering. So until next time, I want you to stay hydrated, stay meditated, and keep speculating. And as always, make it worth your wellness. I'll see you guys on Monday.